Well, today, by today, certainly, I hoped I could say that the pandemic is over. But unfortunately, we are still experiencing this recent resurgence, although indications are that it's beginning to go down for us, certainly here in California. The pandemic has been, of course, largely a bad experience, a terrible experience. But there have been some positive results. Among them is the awareness of how important friends are in our lives. As a result of being largely cooped up at home and isolated at times over the last 17 or 18 months, people have reconnected with friends that they may have been out of touch with. I have reconnected with some friends from long ago and far away. And we use the modern technology of Zoom, which, as you know, isn't foolproof, but we've used that technology to be our medium of connection. And this has been a blessing. It's interesting that many of our congregations, having used Zoom or some other version of social connecting through the internet, have used it so successfully that they are now doing what you're doing here and trying to be both in person and connect on Zoom for those people who find it difficult to get out. So this is a blessing, one tiny silver lining in a very big dark cloud. As I look back over other times in my life that I've lived through, both good and bad, I can vividly recall the friends I had in each segment of my life. As is true of most of us, my friendships have been of varying intensities and varying lengths. One particular group of friends was especially important and intimate. We were all undergraduates at Hunter College in New York City during the turbulent mid to late 60s. There was just a handful of friends in our close circle, and we spent a great deal of time together, sometimes laughing and talking well into the night. I often wonder how it is that we all found each other and what the unique glue was that bound us together during these challenging years. And that is one of the special aspects of friendship. Theologian and sociologist Martin Marty says, the chemistry of friendship, at least at the point of birth, is a mystery. As the saying goes, people do not make friends, they recognize them. We somehow recognized each other as kindred spirits. Partly because of the magic of that special circle of friends, I have come to consider friendship as a spiritual phenomenon. I would not go as far as 19th century transcendentalist Bronson Alcott went, who said that friendship is the only religion possible to moderns. But I would agree with his friend, Ralph Waldo Emerson, that, as Emerson put it, friendship demands a religious treatment. In pointing to the spiritual character of friendship, C.S. Lewis said, friendship is unnecessary, like philosophy, like art. It has no survival value. Rather, it is one of those things that give value to survival. Through various surveys and studies, psychologists have discovered that friendship actually can prolong survival. A study conducted in California involving 7,000 adults between the ages of 30 and 59 revealed a strong correlation between social connectedness and length of life. Good social support by friends and relatives seem to help protect people from such problems as heart and circulatory diseases. Another study of an elderly group found that people with a close friend were less prone to psychological problems. Still another showed that women who have an intimate and confiding relationship had a significantly lower incidence of depression. The Old Testament sums it up nicely. A faithful friend is the medicine of life. Of course, we don't usually decide to become friends with someone because it is good for our mental and physical health, at least not consciously. We do it because we are social beings, because we are somehow inexplicably drawn to certain people, because we want to love and to be loved, because many of us feel a need for at least one person with whom we can share joys and sorrows, as well as our best and our worst selves. A good friendship offers so much: companionship for our favorite activities, a confidant, someone to lean on in difficult times, someone to care for in return, to try out our ideas on, to get honest feedback from. One good friend can help see us through the ups and downs of any number of romantic relationships. And it is those romantic relationships that are also friendships that are the richest and the most enduring. The words of a wedding ceremony that I have used often speak of the essence of the marriage commitment is the willingness to take another person in his entirety, as lover, as companion, and as friend. In some cases of romantic relationships, the friendship part may turn out to be the more durable. Romance can fade, but sometimes, if we're lucky, the lover turns into a lifelong friend instead. The poet Byron said, "Friendship is love without wings." Well, I would say maybe so, but love without wings has at least 2 feet firmly planted on the ground. Friendship is a valuable source of self-understanding. Our friends, as it turns out, are very good mirrors. It is partly through our friends and the ways in which we relate to them that we form a sense of our own identity. Friendships thrive on mutual esteem, and this can't help but enhance our own self-esteem as well. And friendship can be revolutionary. The friendship bond is such that friends may band together in loyalty to one another and against an oppressive institution or individual. The friendly coffee group at work may be a place for blowing off steam, and it may be the seedbed of an organized effort for better working conditions. Friends can inspire and support each other in social activism. The words friend and free both derive from the Sanskrit root pri, which means to love. In Old English, freo meant free, freon meant to love, and freond meant friend, one who loves freely. As the etymology indicates, friendship has the character of freedom. It's a freely chosen bond, and it can't be forced. Perhaps you have discovered how impossible it is to engineer friendship. If you've ever tried to bring together 2 seemingly compatible people, only to discover that the friendship you share with each of them separately couldn't be transferred to a friendship between them, you understand how friendship can't be engineered in that way. It is a freely chosen mutual preference between people, 2 people for each other, or groups of people for each other. 2 of the most seminal thinkers of Western civilization, who else but Plato and Aristotle held opposing views on friendship and preference. For Plato, friendship may start as a freely chosen preference for a particular person, but true friendship, he said, is infinite and immortal. It expands beyond the attachment to the individual friend to embrace all of humanity and the cosmos itself. This expansive love, called in Greek agape, is the type of love toward which Christianity and other religions strive. This is a selfless love that requires no return. It is given in spite of who we are. Aristotle's ideal of true friendship, on the other hand, is preferential. We love a friend because of who that person is, in preference to other people. For Aristotle, this particularity, I'm still learning how to see. I just got cataract surgery, so my glasses aren't quite right anymore. So let me start again. For Aristotle, this particularity, this preference for one person over another, is the truest kind of friendship. As he put it, to be friends with many people in the sense of perfect friendship is impossible. Well, I would say that most of us experience friendship as Aristotle rather than Plato described it. And most of us might have a few elements of Plato's ideal, but Aristotle's preferential style of friendship is the one that I think most of us experience most of the time. A relatively few people from the multitudes of people we encounter in our lives actually become our friends. An old Chinese proverb says, there are plenty of acquaintances in the world, but very few real friends. In fact, one recent study indicated that most people have an average of 4 people who they can describe as true friends. Actually, I tend to be a bit wary when someone throws the term friend around too casually, as advertisers do when they tell us to fly the friendly skies, or you have a friend at our savings and loan, or you can enjoy the friendly cereal, or whatever it might be. As an old slogan says, a friend to everybody is a friend to nobody. This preferential aspect of friendship makes it vulnerable to change and possibly to dissolution, since we come to prefer as friends people on the basis of their qualities that may change as our friend evolves or as we evolve. We're really a long way from Plato's ideal of friendship as immortal love. Also, in Plato's ideal friendship, the love need not be returned. But our experience of friendship involves mutual affection and esteem. It would make little sense to say, Mary is my friend, if Mary would not agree that she is. Romantic love may be one-sided, but friendship is not. There is a dark side to friendship, a side which springs from among the less noble parts of ourselves. Psychology Today magazine conducted an extensive survey a couple of decades ago to determine why some friendships cool off or end. Some of the answers point to this darker side. The most frequent reason given for the ending of a friendship was neither dark nor surprising. Respondents said, one of us moved. Great distances are certainly hard on friendships, even the closest ones, although social media have made long-distance friendships more common and more able to be nurtured, thankfully, in this pandemic time. The second most frequent reason given for friendships ending was, I felt that my friend betrayed me. The kiss of Judas, apparently, has toppled many a friendship. The ever-present risk in an intimate relationship is that the one whom you have trusted with your deepest secrets can reveal confidences or use them against you. Betrayal may be the saddest reason why friends part. If that particular survey is any indication, this happens rather frequently. Two other answers given often in that survey reveal another dark side to friendship. One of us became markedly more successful at work, and one of us became much richer. The culprit here is that uncomfortable emotion, envy. It can sour even the deepest friendship. Novelist Al Gore once said in an honest confession, "Every time a friend succeeds, I die a little." Two more answers chosen frequently in the survey bring to mind Mark Twain's comment. Twain said, "The holy passion of friendship is so sweet and steady and loyal and enduring a nature that it will last a whole lifetime, if not asked to lend money." The respondents in the survey said that friendships ended when a friend asked to borrow money or when they asked a friend to lend them money. This issue in particular seems to test the limits of many a friendship. The results of this survey of modern friendships would no doubt disappoint Plato. Our friendships are hardly universal and immortal. Like ourselves, they are less than perfect. As Martin Marty has said, those who are sentimental about friendship have not interviewed enough people. Friends can and do betray each other. They can overstretch the limits of generosity or feel put upon by one another. They can experience twinges of envy over each other's good fortune or competence. Or friendships can simply fade away because of negligence or because people's lifestyles, worldviews, or personalities evolve away from one another. Some of the individuals in my circle of college friends I am no longer in touch with. We drifted apart, as many friendships do. We individually changed, moved away, or attached to other people, and the circle was broken. Nevertheless, during the lonely hours of the pandemic, a couple of them got in touch with me out of the clear blue, seeking connection and the comfort of old ties. Maybe some of you have experienced this phenomenon, hearing from people in your past that you were friendly with, maybe very close with. I have stayed more in touch with some others from those days, and the chance to have Zoom meetings with these old far-flung friends has happily renewed some of those old connections. We could have been Zooming before the pandemic, but the pandemic was definitely a motivation for many of us to connect. I found these Zoom friends so valuable as we commiserated about the lockdowns and worried about our own health and that of others with this merciless virus. And we got each other through a lot of tense times, including a very tense presidential election. And we all laughed and cried together. I also found, after I was vaccinated and felt less vulnerable, that I wanted more friends I could physically be with safely. So I decided to actively look for some new local people I could connect to. And one path I took was to join a forming neighborhood discussion group. In person, all vaccinated, we gather for discussions on a variety of subjects. This is a small group of people of mixed ages and mixed religious backgrounds. And we so far seem to have bonded as real friends. We can all be proactive in this way about looking for and cultivating friendships, although there is a kind of magic and mystery to who will actually form that bond, but we will never find friendship if we don't place ourselves in the paths of other people. A religious community like this one is often a good place to start. And I understand that you here have now started your physical connections with one another, or restarted your physical connections with one another in this sacred space. And that's wonderful that you're able to do that while still keeping the connection you have to others who are on Zoom. So may you continue those connections and continue to deepen them, either physically or virtually, as you have been doing. Although the friendships that we engage in may not be perfect, I believe that there is, after all, as I said before, a little of Plato's agape in the best of them. There is a kind of love between good friends that can transcend this the particular relationship and particularities of the friendship to embrace a wider reality. Perhaps you have felt this kind of transcendent quality behind the mutual love of a friendship. Through the special regard that you hold for the friend, an inner door is opened and you feel deepened and expanded. In the genuine meeting between two or more human beings, there is a kind of third self, a third aliveness, a sense of something larger than the individual persons involved. We had an inkling of this transcendent quality within our little college group of friends so long ago. We even spoke tentatively about this kind of feeling we had for each other, although we really had no terms for it. But how the love we shared between us felt more expansive than just among us. At the time, I didn't know that one theologian, Martin Buber, had built his theology upon the foundation stone of the human meeting. Buber spoke of this as the I-thou encounter, which takes place in a relationship of openness, directness, mutuality, and presence. These are the qualities of a good friendship. In the I-thou meeting, we catch a glimpse of the eternal. Or as Buber might have put it, God dwells within the human meeting. Through the spiritual communion of friendship, we come to know ourselves and to feel a part of all that is. Emerson said, "The laws of friendship are eternal, of one web with the laws of nature and of morals." This feels right to me. When we love another deeply, we are keenly aware that to hurt someone is to tug at that fragile web which binds us to all people and to the universe itself. And we are reminded that we should hold our friendships, and indeed all people, with tenderness and with care. Those of us who have had the good fortune of enjoying intimate friendships know that the risk of losing friends is far outweighed by the joy of sharing in that unique kind of relationship for as long as it lasts. May your lives be doubly blessed and deepened with the gift of friendship.
Thank you, Reverend Joy. Love is the spirit of this church and service its law. This is our great covenant to dwell together in peace, to seek the truth in love, and to help one another. This congregation depends entirely upon the generosity of its members and friends. All that we give in time, talent, and treasure is what sustains this community and makes it not just a sanctuary for us to return to for spiritual nourishment, but an oasis from which we can go out into the world carrying the waters of life. People at home can donate by going to our website at nvuu.org and clicking on the yellow donate button on the left-hand side, or send a check to NVUU at 1625 Salvador Avenue, Napa, California, 94558. The offering will now be gratefully received.